Behind me, 7 hectares of Grand Cru Tuscany, Masseto, a unique and perfect union between soil and grape. Clay soil, Merlot grape. Put the union together and you have the most perfect relationship, something that expresses itself in such a unique fashion that the world stands back and notices. And now we go and meet the perfect union that oversees the bringing together of these two fine elements. Marchesa Ferdinando Frescobaldi and Giovanni Guedes.
We want just to produce the best wine, but particularly we want also to respect, to be able to understand in the best way the region, the land, the terroir of the region. You know, respect a region for a farmer, for a vine grower is something such important, because if we respect the soil, the region, we could go on for many, many generations. You know, me personally, I am the 29th generation. After 700 years that we are working in Tuscany, we want also to preserve, to develop our Tuscan region, you know, also for another 700 years minimum.
I'm not an expert in soil or an expert in enology, but the relationship between Merlot and clay, this very unique.
Very
certainly
much.
very unique. Yeah.
In Masseto we have just Merlot, but the expression of this Merlot is the expression really of a Tuscan Merlot, beautiful, one unique Merlot. It's not into comparison to other Merlot.
The soil, in a way, is very similar to what you find in some small areas in Pomerol. The climate is undoubtedly very different because we have a much farther south, we have larger, more powerful wines.
Can you put into words describing the wine?
When you put a sip of Masseto in your mouth, it's full of everything. Thanks God that has given such a tremendous energy, you know, of this wine.
Its makeup has a simplicity about it that I think is the foundations to its greatness.
Masseto is that small vineyard in a hill looking west with a very good exposition, close to the seaside, yes, and also protect from the wind that they are coming from the east or the north.
The soil's almost like marble, isn't it? Because there are seams of different aspects within the seams of the clay.
Yes, it goes
as the
up.
land was folded.
Within that soils, there are also very large differences. I mean, so we know that one part of Masseto produces much stronger wine, the other part of Masseto produces much sweeter wines. I can tell you one thing, absolutely not being a technical, the Masseto for me, in a blind tasting, is the wine which is most easy to recognize out of any other wines, because it's got a pattern which you cannot miss.
You've got one fundamental soil, but 3 variations of it. Is that a very important part of this?
Masseto is unique. Masseto is really, why that? You have to ask God why he has put in the soil of Masseto such a great potential. Because the the people who are working there have understand, they know how to cultivate the vine.
The harvesting of Masseto may happen in 4 or 5 different days because each bit is harvested at a separate time. And sometimes even one row is harvested at a different time. So there's a lot of care when the grape is absolutely ripe. And that can only be done not just by analyzing the grape, but by tasting the grape. And it's done, Masseto, it's a maximum, say, of between 2,500 and 3,000 cases altogether. Depending on the vintage, one vintage we did even less than 2,000 cases. So it's what nature gives us at that level.
I'd like you to just give us an idea what Masseto were like in 1999 when you arrived.
So the start was very good. The base was very good. What we had to do at the time when I joined the company was to make it really known globally that we were producing some of the best wines in the world. And Masseto in 2001 was the first wine ever to have 100 points in Tuscany, the first wine ever.
You actually have some security system now, which is essential for the veracity of the wine.
Yes, we have. Since 2001, we have the bottle of Masseto embossed with the name Masseto. And since 2005, we got what is called RFID, radio frequency, on the back of the label. So we know, we can spot out if that's a real bottle of Masseto, and we know who we sold it to at the beginning. That's all we can know, but that we know. So it's a sort of guarantee that we can give to any auction house that comes from us and it's gone to Mr. X at that time.
The future, where's the journey going? How do you see that?
In 20 years' time, one of my sons could say, the wine that we are producing now in Ornellaia is 3 times better than what Ferdinando and his brother and Giovanni they were doing in 2011 or 2012. That will be the goal of Ornellaia or Masseto.